What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Beyond the Neon Veil. I'm your host, Cousin Ryan, and today we brought back one of my favorite guests. We had a great time talking last time about his time as a bachelor in Vegas, and he has some more great stories that he wanted to tell. So I want to go ahead and bring him in, my good friend, Rob Schaefer. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, how are you, Cousin Ryan? Great to see you again.
It's good to see you. How have you been?
I've been busy. Been busy practicing the law.
Oh, yeah. How's that? You keeping busy? People keeping you busy right now?
I'm keeping busy. You got to do a lot of trust in estates. That's my primary practice. And
right on.
Picked up a couple criminal cases recently. So.
Oh, wow. That's, if it wasn't for what I fell into, I was going to go into law, but my current career kind of fell in my lap. And so I was like, I took a left turn and went with it. So.
No, I took a left turn into the law. So.
Yeah, it does. It really does. So, you were on a couple weeks ago. We talked about that first, year or so of you in Vegas as a bachelor in your the late 90s, early 2000s, and, you being a chef there, working, doing all that cool shit, having a good time at a blackjack table with a celebrity, which is always fun,
Yeah.
I've had a lot of people comment about that story. They thought it was hilarious. They think it's really funny. So they would have been pissed just like you, so they get it.
Oh, yes, she was in the
wrong. So, I know you had, you spent all that time there. You were there for about 3 years, and there's more stories. And I know we've talked behind the scenes about some of the things you wanted to talk about to make sure we brought them up. So I kind of want to just lean into it. And the one story that I haven't heard yet that I want to hear is this Halloween story. So give me a little background.
Little background is my birthday is on Halloween.
Okay.
So I moved out to Vegas in like March, and my parents came to visit me for my birthday. And they're like, hey, what do you want to do? Where do you want to go? Let's go. We'll take you out for a dinner. So I'm like, all right, we're going to go to Rosemary's. They brought that restaurant up previously with Chef Michael Jordan. So I call up Chef Jordan, and I got a 10-course meal for dinner. And it started at 5. It was going to be many hours. So I get off work at 3:00. I go, I shower, shave, and get ready for dinner. And I didn't buy any Halloween candy, none whatsoever, because I wasn't going to be there.
Right.
I was leaving at 4:30 to go to dinner. So I close the door, and get ready. And as I'm about to leave, I hear a knock on my door. And I'm like, oh no, could it be trick-or-treaters? I open up the door. There's these 2 little kids, maybe 4 and 5 years old. And they're all dressed up. They're all cute as can be. And they're like, trick or treat. And like, oh guys, you're so early. Let me see what I got. I don't know what I have available for you guys. So just stay right here. They're like, okay. So I go into my kitchen. I open my freezer because I kept king-size Reese's peanut butter cups in my freezer. And I only had one. I'm like, oh no. And as a single chef, I had in my refrigerator, I had beer and condiment packets from different fast food places. I had zero food. I opened up my cabinet, and the only thing I had available to eat, to give, was a can of Chef Boyardee, tortellini. So I'm like, okay, well, this is all I have. So I grab the can and I kind of hide it here, and I have the Reese's peanut butter cups hanging here. I'm like, all right, here you go, buddy. And into the first kids, I then slide the Chef Boyardee, and he's like this, and it just goes bonk like that. And I'm like, and one for you.
Oh man, that's hilarious.
That's
well. At least you tried. There's people who would have just
I tried,
away, So
yeah, hey, maybe they needed a can of Chef Boyardee. I don't know. Who am I to judge?
I would have been happy with it. So whatever. You do.
Parents probably thought I was crazy. Like, what the heck?
Yeah,
Where are
they
you
keep
getting
that
a
on
show?
the kid's tag for sure afterwards. That's for sure.
Yep. That's one of my favorite stories. After our previous episode, I get I get done and I walk into the other room and my son goes, "Did you tell him the Halloween story?" And I'm like, "I did not. I'll have to."
So, okay, so I have to ask because I've never heard of a 10-course meal. So, I mean, I've heard of it, I've never like experienced that, I guess. What does that include entirely? Like how does a 10-course meal work like that?
Well, it's basically each course is like a bite or two. It has to be very small because
Okay.
you're going like one of the courses was barbecued shrimp, and it was like cutting edge at the time. And he did it so well. I've tried to recreate it and I can't. Uh, so it's just one of the wonderful dishes. But it was just like it was like two shrimp and some like corn and like maybe like some grits on it and like a little drizzle of sauce. Like that's one course.
Okay.
And then like another was like a soup course, which was like, a couple ounces of soup.
So just small
Mhm.
portions, but 10 of them. Okay.
Yes.
What was
In increasing levels of, complexity and, it goes from like vegetables to seafood to chicken to pork to beef. And then there's like two dessert courses.
what was your favorite part of that?
Just the whole experience. It
Yeah.
was, it
Okay.
was so good. We took a cab out there and because, with each course you had your own glass of wine, a wine paired with each course.
Right.
So that was a lot of fun.
And stuff like that, I know, like now, especially, that wouldn't be cheap to do something like that. So I imagine then it was about the
Well,
same, a little expensive.
well, well, God bless my parents. They paid for it. I have no idea. It couldn't have been cheap. But
Okay. Okay. That makes sense. That's awesome. That's so cool. I've done like 3, 4 course meals like that, but
mhm.
um, 10-course meal, that's a lot of different things coming out being served to you like that. And do they wait until you finish, or do they just keep coming? Like,
I mean, they time it out. So it's like after they put the plate down, since it's only like a bite or two, it takes you no less than 5 minutes. So it's like every like 5 minutes, to 10 minutes, depending on the dish. The courses just keep on coming.
did you ever try to recreate any of those? I mean, with you being a chef at the time.
I've tried to recreate the barbecued shrimp, and I could make a really good barbecued shrimp, but I just couldn't recreate what he did.
Now, see, that sounds amazing. I gotta try some barbecue shrimp now. Uh, okay, so so you were there for a few. Did your other Halloweens, did you have candy those other Halloweens, or were you that house that didn't have it?
Well, that first Halloween was the only Halloween I didn't work. Like,
Oh,
so
okay.
I was working until 8 o'clock at 9 o'clock at night after the trick or treaters. But just to be sure, if there was late arrivals, I would always have like a bag or two of candy.
So I've lived here for about 6 years now, and I've done Halloween every year, something different. And I've seen some shit. And so I imagine working on the strip at the time, did you see a lot of like crazy costumes you were out there? Did you do anything that stands out that you remember from that time?
Oh, there was just, I mean, it was really, I think it was really before like San Diego Comic Con was really huge with all the cosplayers. They
Mhm.
were like just like the nerds or whatever. It wasn't huge, but there was several like really, really elaborate like cosplays for like, like Chewbacca or,
Right.
you know, some of the classic cosplay uniforms. Like there was a Boba Fett, looked completely real. It was pretty amazing.
That's cool. That's cool. I
Not a lot.
nowadays, especially like some of the costumes I've seen on Fremont in the past few years that I've gone are just absolutely mind blowing. Um, and the level of detail that goes in there. So for those of you watching, Halloween here in Las Vegas is an absolute trip. Uh, just going down to Fremont on Halloween and watching the Halloween parade. They do a costume contest. The last few years, especially, I've always gone down in like my own little costume. I think year before, I was Benny the Jet Rodriguez, and the person I went with was um, she was the girl from the Sandlot, and I can't believe I'm spacing on the name right now. But This last year we went as Coraline and her friend, and it's always a fun time to go to Halloween, but our costumes compared to the people that are down there are absolutely nuts. Just nuts. There was a guy this last year. It was creepy. Not really for me because I noticed him early, but there was, every year you get the whole Michael Myers Halloween thing, and there was a guy walking around the Arts District in downtown, and he kept walking back and forth in the same path, and he was scaring so many drunk people. And it was so freaking fun, just him walking up behind them like that with the knife. And it's a good time. It's a really fun time down there. So everyone needs to check that out. God, I love Halloween. I can't wait for this coming year. So the next one I want to talk about is this pimp story that you have.
Oh, jeez. So yeah, the pimp story. So I was drinking at one of the bars in the Venetian. It was, a couple doors down from the restaurant I worked at. And a couple of us went over there. It was like 2:00 in the morning, and I'm just standing at the bar waiting for the bartender to fill my drink up. And this lady, like she saddles up to me, like right when I first moved there, and she's talking me up. I'm talking to her, and for a couple minutes, she's like, "Well, let's go upstairs." I'm like, "What? Go upstairs?" It's like I work here. I'm not. She's like, "Well, you owe me $50 for my time." I'm like, "What? You're a, And I'm like, "What? You're a hooker?" And that really upset her. Really upset her. So she like turns around and she gives a snap to somebody in the back of the bar, and just this gigantic man just stands up, and he just makes a V line straight towards me. So I'm like, "Oh man, I'm in trouble. I better get." So I go to like the employees entrance in the back of the bar. I like go to my restaurant, and I sit there for like a half hour. I'm like, all right, he's got to be out of here. So then I go to leave. I have to walk through the casino to get home. And all of a sudden I hear, "Hey!" And I like turn around, and like 50 feet away, there's the dude's still there. He's like still looking for me. So I just like make a V line to a couple of security guards. I'm like, "Listen, this dude's after me. He's bad news. This crazy pimp is chasing me." They're like, "We'll take care of it." And then they get on their little, whatever code it is for crazy pimp, and 6 or 7 security guards came and escorted them out of the property.
That's crazy. I've experienced, well, not personally, but like with my friends of mine. I have a buddy, one of my best friends. We went to quite a few years ago, but we're out on the Strip, and there's a McDonald's out there around the Flamingo area, and it was like 2 or 3 in the morning, and we're sitting outside just drunk, eating McDonald's, and I get up to go to the bathroom, and I come back, and he's sitting there talking to this girl, and it's one of those like things I'm like, okay, where did this girl come from? Like, what's my buddy doing? What's going on? And I look over, and there's this giant dude just sitting 2 tables over, just watching them. They end up talking for like a half hour, 45 minutes, until the guy stood up and walked over. He's like, "Hey, so is this going to be a thing or what?" And my buddy is like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Dude, she's working." It's like, come on. And so I had to go grab my friend. Like, all right, dude, let's go. Like, this isn't, get the hell out of here before this gets weird. This is going to be really bad.
Oh yeah, only the finest quality of ladies of the night work the Flamingo McDonald's at 2 a.m.
It was so weird. Like that was my thought was like, who does that? Like at a McDonald's, really?
Yeah, got to make a living.
But then again, this is the same. My buddy, we've been, I want to get him on really bad because there's some stories that we want to tell of the things that we've gotten into, and he was totally oblivious to a lot of things that's happened here, especially when we've been drinking, and him getting hit on by a guy at a bar who was sending him drinks, and he didn't realize what was happening until way later into the night when the guy sat next to him, which was really funny because I knew what was going on, but I was just going to let it happen because I thought it was hilarious. So
of course,
and you gotta love Vegas, but especially nowadays, you have to be careful what you do and what you say and where you're going out there, because everyone's trying to get a video of something to post on the internet. And we didn't talk about it this past episode that I had with my buddy, but we were walking from MGM to New York. And we're just, just walking along, chatting, bullshitting on the Sky Bridge over the cross. And I happen to look down and there's $100 bill folded on the ground, just perfectly folded in the middle of the bridge, Sky Bridge, just sitting there. And I looked at it and I looked at him and we're like, screw it. We walked by and the guy behind us picked it up. And we ended up talking to this guy, and that's the second $100 bill he found in that same day. But it's one of those situations to where I was too afraid to pick it up because where it was right in front of the doors. There was the cleaning crew was sitting right there next to it. There's a homeless guy sitting on the ground, maybe 10 feet from it. And so, knowing my life, I pick it up. It's a freaking camera on me, and I get nailed for something stupid. But it happened not to be. So it's one of those I'm overly cautious about picking up money off the ground.
I don't blame you. I would be too.
I wouldn't do it. So the last time you were on, we talked a lot about you talked about the gambling. You talked about your friend who went to the Peace Corps, and unfortunately she passed. And then your time as a chef was when you left Las Vegas. Did you go all out before you decided to leave? Did you do anything wild and crazy before you left?
You know what? I really didn't. I really didn't do anything wild and crazy. I did. Well, I went to Madrid actually before one of my buddies from high school. He was getting married to a girl from Madrid, and at that time it was like I was on a real bad beat in terms of my gambling. It was like I purchased the tickets 6 months before, and then 2 days before the trip, it's like, oh man, I'm gonna go there for a week, and I got $200 in my bank account. It's like I'm tapped out. So I'm like, I go to work that night, and someone gives me a $5 tip for whatever reason. So I put the $5 tip into the Wheel of Fortune slot machine, and I wound up winning $3,000.
Wow.
Off the first spin. So I'm like, oh, thank you. Then had a heck of a time in Madrid.
Well, did you win fairly often on the slot machines when you played, or is it kind of a
No, it was just kind of just a random thing. I didn't play a whole lot of slots.
Right. I before I moved here, I played quite a bit of slots, and there was only one time I've ever hit a jackpot, I guess, a big hit, and it was my sister's 21st birthday on Fremont, and it was 2-3 o'clock in the morning. It was just me and a couple guys, my dad and his friends, and this girl I was with at the time was with me, and she was ready to go back to the hotel room, which was fine, but I had $10 left in the slot machine. I was like, just let me play this, just let me get through it, whatever.
Sure.
And so I go to the middle bet, which is $250 or something like that, and I'm just trying to get through my money. And it was the last spin, and it was this bonus game it was a really long bonus game, but it was this climbing tower bonus game, and I ended up hitting $3,000 on my last spin. And it was so funny because I remember my girlfriend, I got all excited, and she looked at me, looked at the machine, she patted me, she goes, "Oh, good job, honey, you won $30, let's go." And I was like, that's not $30, man. That's $3,000. Yeah. We're staying here. We're staying.
Right.
But Fremont at 3 o'clock in the morning, walking back to our hotel room, when everyone watched me get paid out at the bar that was right behind me, is a shady, sketchy fucking thing, man.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
There was a group that followed us outside the hotel. Luckily, my dad and his friends were still with me because, and they're bigger guys. So, but I can't imagine trying to walk with $3,000 cash in my pocket being followed by people.
Oh yeah, that happened to me. I was playing blackjack at, I don't know if I told the story. It was I was at one of the smaller casinos on Koval Lane, way down past the MGM. It was a little hole in the wall. And I wound up winning $5,000, and there was these three dudes just staring me down. So that was one of those times I'm like, I'm gonna need security to walk me to my car, please, and then make sure I get out of here without them following me. Well, who's looking at you? And I pointed at them, and they're like, okay, we'll take care of it.
Yeah, I mean, you have to. because when you win, it makes a lot of noise and people are looking when you
Oh
win a
yeah,
jackpot like
absolutely.
that. And then the fact that they have to come out and pay you in cash right there. Um, yeah, it could be a little sketchy for sure. Very sketchy.
Absolutely. Yeah, because that was one of those, I wanted to hit all the different casinos that I could to play in just to see what I liked. And that was close enough to the house. It was like, oh man, I don't want to, I'm not looking to get rolled. I had a good night at the blackjack table
Right.
and, that wasn't on my to-do list was getting rolled for 5 grand.
Did you end up going back out and gambling that money away?
Oh, probably eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wound up doing pretty well, pretty decent when it came to gambling. I was like making more money gambling than I was as a cook and as a chef.
There's been times for when I first moved here, I did a lot of Keno because for me, going to play nickel, quarter, dime Keno at South Point, you're getting your $20 can last you 2-3 hours, and you're getting drink on top of drink on top of drink. So by the
Hmm.
time you stand up, you're hammered, but you only spent $20 plus whatever you tip the waitress.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it was like I'd play poker. I got really really good at Omaha and Omaha Eights and better. I'd play that, and then I'd get bored of it, so then I'd go and like try to figure out craps, and the bankroll would go down as I was trying to figure that out, and then I'd get it up again. I'm like, all right, I got a good handle of craps. I'd play craps for a while, make some good money, and be like, all right, let's try roulette, and then like roulette killed me. Roulette would just couldn't. I had so many different systems that I would try, and it's like nothing would work.
I've never been good at roulette. An ex-girlfriend of mine was amazing at it. One of my buddies actually just won 6 grand at roulette like 2 weeks ago.
Nice.
And I don't know how you do. I mean, unless you're betting a lot of money hitting numbers, that's not easy to do.
No, that's not easy to do at all.
Craps was my game.
That's
I think we told the story before, but there's been times where we sat at a craps table. We sat at it for an hour and a half with one guy rolling, and he almost broke the record.
wow.
He won me close to $1,000, but then there were people all around the table who won like 10, 15 grand, and they were tipping him a couple $100 for winning them that money.
Sure, keep rolling those numbers, baby. Yeah, I got on my best was I rolled 30 numbers before I
Wow.
yeah that was really really good.
And when tables like that are when you're at a table and it's hot and it's loud and it's fun, the waitresses will come around like crazy.
Oh yeah, it doesn't get any better than that. You got 20 people standing around like every time the dice are rolling is like
Yeah.
it's like the casinos really pop when there's a hot dice game going on.
Oh yeah.
That's for sure.
Hot dice game, and then I've seen it with poker table or with blackjack tables, especially when someone's betting big. You can see the table go freaking ape shit nuts when someone's winning a couple $100 a hand. So,
Yep.
but my only time I ever spin a lot of money is at the craps table, and there's been times where I've sat down at like a 3-card poker table and spend $100 there. But there was one time when we were playing. I lost my money. I got my ass kicked real quick. I was sitting center of the table, got my ass handed to me. But I was surrounded by like these business guys in for a conference. And before I can get up and walk away, they stopped me. They're like, here. They gave me money. They're like, keep betting. We're winning. You're the only one losing at this table. If you keep playing, we're going to keep winning. And I sat there for about another hour with these guys playing their money.
Nice.
So,
Did you win?
I ended up not winning. I kept losing, but they kept winning.
Well, there you go.
I was
So
minimum betting. They were betting over the top. It was crazy, dude. Crazy.
I don't know if I've ever played 3-card poker.
It's fun.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah.
My dad's got a lot of luck with it. He always freaking wins when he plays. So I thought I'd give it a shot. And it's not for me. Not for me.
No.
God, I miss gambling. I might have to go back out and do it again. But that's a bad habit to go through.
Yeah, I haven't really gambled. Since I had kids, and I'm looking. I'm trying to talk my wife into going to Vegas for my 50th in October this year.
So you don't let me know.
That should be fun.
That would be a
I'll
lot of
let you
fun.
know. We could do a live Beyond the Neon Veil.
Hell yeah, we'll have to go out and have a story, and then we can come back and tell it for everybody.
There we go.
Especially
Sounds
for
good.
that week for a Halloween birthday. Hell yeah, man! The show we get into. Are you kidding me? Did when you were here, did you ever get a chance to do the and I don't know if it was here at the time, but the Excalibur show? Wow, why am I spacing on what it's called now? You know what I'm talking about, the one with the horses and the jousting, the jousting and stuff like that.
When you first said the Excalibur show, I was thinking you were talking about Thunder from Down Under, because weren't they at the Excalibur?
They're still there. I have a story about that too.
Yeah, never went to the Thunder from Down Under, but you're talking like like the jousting show, medieval times, medieval times kind of thing. No, I never went.
Tournament of Kings, that's what it's called. That's what it is.
Tournament of Kings? No.
So for those watching, I haven't told the story before, and I'm excited to tell the story because I think you'll appreciate this. But we came to Vegas. It was me and 5 buddies, and we were here for a week, and we wanted to go do whatever we could. And so we picked Tournament of Kings to be our show. Well, we were 23 years old, and some of these guys had never like partied as hard as me and my best friend, so it was something new to them. And we went and bought a bottle of absinthe. It was like knockoff absinthe, and we drank it in our hotel room before we went down to the show. There was 6 of us. It wasn't crowded that night, and you have to imagine 6 drunk 23-year-olds eating Cornish game hen and corn and bread and just screaming at the top of our lungs at this stupid this tournament thing. Oh my god, the food was amazing. I'll tell you that right now. Like, if you get a chance to go do that and get a meal there, that Cornish game hen was really good. So,
well, was it the Cornish game hen that was so good, or was it the half a bottle of absinthe that you drank beforehand that made it so good?
Both, probably. Probably a little bit of both.
Yeah,
Smart man. It was I think that was the same. Now that you say it, that was the same night, because we did that. We make friends everywhere we go, especially me. When I go out places, I always make friends when I'm out somewhere. And we met these 2 guys who were staying in the hotel, and cool dudes. We met up with them later that night, and they told us, like, oh, we're gonna go check out Thunder from Down Under. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, I guess we'll see you guys afterwards. We walk up to where Thunder Down Under is. They didn't go to the show. They were sitting outside of the bar waiting for it to get out.
Oh, well, that makes sense. I guess I could have tried that when I was there.
It worked.
Yeah.
Dude, it worked. It blew my mind. We get there, and they're surrounded by all these women who came out of the show just talking to them. And they ended up getting a couple of their numbers. And it's the smartest play I've ever seen.
Very smart. It's 4D chess right there.
Yeah. For real. Oh my goodness. God, I love Vegas. And there's a lot of these stories that I've been waiting to tell, and I knew you would understand that, especially being from here. So you knew exactly what I was talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
So, I just noticed this past weekend I was out there too, a lot of the buffets are starting to open again here in Vegas, which is
good.
As a chef, or you were a chef, were you ever a fan of buffets? Was that kind of like a
No, you know what? I was a buffet chef for like 6 months, and the majority of people going through a buffet, are disgusting.
Yeah.
But in Vegas they have the the higher end buffets, and I really enjoy them. Eating at them, I just have to really not think about all of the germs and the dirt and the improper sanitation that's going along.
That weekend I won the $3,000. The next morning I paid for everyone to go to the buffet at Planet Hollywood, and it ended up being like $300-400 for a handful of us, and it was totally worth it. But the funny part was my sister and her friend, they ate their fucking body weight in cotton candy, because this place had cotton candy as one of the desserts on the sticks.
Mm-hmm.
And they let them take them out. So as we're walking out of there, my sister's friend had 6 of cotton candy in each hand as we're walking out of the buffet at Planet Hollywood, just eating the shit out of it.
Oh boy.
My stomach hurts just thinking about it. Like we have pictures of that, and I'll probably throw it up here. I think we have a picture of it, and I'll throw it up during the show. But it was just the thought of it, because the people
That's
that
a
were
lot of
down there,
cotton candy. Yeah. Fun fact about cotton candy: it was invented by a dentist.
Seriously,
Yep.
that shit's horrible for you.
Well, built-in business.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true. That is very true. Hey, and thank you for watching part 1 of Rob Schaefer's second interview. Go ahead and click like, subscribe, and wait for next week when we drop part 2 and we talk about the rest of his time in Sin City. And I have some other fun stories that I throw out there that have never been shared on air yet. Thanks again for watching. See you guys next week.